Rob. What's up, Jason?
If you need me out here, I'll sit out here and just hang out for the next half hour and talk to anybody that walks in if you need.
Okay.
Are you guys doing the live stream right now?
Yeah, it says it starts in 1 minute and 46 seconds. I haven't started one early yet, so I don't know how that works. But we could. Oh no, we're on. Never mind. I don't know how things work.
It's just still.
What's up? Oh no, you're blinking.
Oh.
Okay, I think we're on. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike.
I'm Russ.
I'm the owner of the Lost Co. This is our head mechanic, Russ. I don't think we've done a video with him yet. Oh wait,
No.
you popped your head up in the Tasco video.
Brief.
And then you
Very
also
brief.
were in the bike watch video, but you didn't wear a bikini. Why not?
Because it was more fun to spray you.
Yeah, he did have a lot of fun spraying me. So anyway, it's Monday. We used to do Mechanic Mondays videos. It's been mega slammed in the shop. We've just been making sure that we are up to date on everybody's repairs. So we haven't had time to get online and do any of the mechanic tutorials. But last week we got super caught up. Hopefully we are going to make a Fox rear shock service video this week because we've got one in and we've got a whole day set aside to film it because it takes quite a while. So we're going to try to do our best and get that done next week. So we're going to now answer some mechanic questions. Russ here has been working on bikes for how many years?
20 plus, 25 years, somewhere in there.
So a long time. So let's see, between the both of us, I don't know, like 35, 37 years or something like that. So if one of us can't answer it, then you have to call NASA because they're the only ones that are smarter than us. But
Or Jason.
Yeah, or Jason. Jason's the third person. But Jason didn't want to be in the live stream. I don't know what. He's drinking a beer in the shop right now. I don't know what he's doing. But anyway, so we've got some questions already that came in from Instagram. We're going to get to those first, and we're going to let people kind of catch up and get online and answer questions in the live chat. If you guys really appreciate any of our help here, you can drop a super chat. Send us like $1 or $2, and we'll go get a snack. We'll probably get a muffin. Russ will probably get, what would you get?
A beer?
Yeah, he'll get a beer, I'll get a LaCroix, a muffin, I don't know. Well, I'll be happy anyway. All right, let's get started. Let's open up these questions. And how do I do that? Here we go. All right. How do I open it? I'm trying to open it. 1 second. Share response. Share response. Okay. Someone says, oh, here, Russ, you want to read it and answer it?
Have a soft, spongy, weak rear brake. What are some things to check and adjust? Typically, if your brake's going to be soft and spongy, it's typically a bleed issue, and that's the first thing I would check. Check your pads, make sure that they've got some life left in them, but definitely start with a bleed.
Sweet. Next question coming from, who's this coming from? Nelson Shea from Instagram. He asks,
is there a proper way of fixing scratches on your uppers aside from straight up replacing them? If they're not too deep, you can kind of buff them out. What I generally would recommend doing is just take the high spots off with some 1000 grit sandpaper. Wet sand them, of course. And then if you've got a deep gouge on it, you can sometimes fill them in with like an enamel. I've even seen people use nail polish on it and then kind of buff it out. Usually I'll follow it up with like some 1500 grit or some 2000 grit and just try to make them as smooth as possible. If they're so deep that it keeps gushing fluid, even after you've done that and replaced the seals, then you'll probably have to replace the stanchions.
sweet. And here's the next one. I'm going to go check something in the shop.
All right, next is blowing through my Fox X2 with proper sag at 220 PSI. Does that mean I need a volume spacer? I would say that's the first place I would check. Also, cycle the shock. Make sure you don't have any air in the damper. Make sure that nothing else is wrong. But yeah, check the volume spacers, and you can add one more. I may need technical assistance to get back to where we were. Here we go. trying to go back.
Oh, here we go. Okay, which one did you just do? That one?
Did that one.
So here we go.
How do you fine tune shifting on your derailleur? That is unfortunately fairly vague. If there's nothing else wrong with your derailleur or cable or anything else, then you just need to barrel adjuster counterclockwise to make it go faster in that direction. That will make it go slower in the other direction. If it's
I think we're having some possible technical difficulties. I don't know. Nope, never mind. It's working again.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
We're here. You're still there. What's the biggest jump and biggest drop you've ever done? This is probably a better question for Mike because I'm sure his biggest drop and jump are probably bigger than mine.
What's the biggest jump and biggest drop I've ever done? Biggest jump was, I think it was like 35 to 40 foot double here in Bellingham. Biggest drop I've ever done, I don't know, it's more like a big step down. It is probably, I don't know, have you been there? Have you seen it? What do you think?
Which one?
Metzger drop.
It's not very far out. It's probably only 15 out, but it's
25 feet down?
20? Maybe not that big,
20?
but it's...
I don't know, 15,
Standing
20?
on it, it's 50 feet. Standing below it, it's probably 20 feet.
Yeah, it depends on how scared you are, too.
Yeah.
If you're really scared, you'll be like, this is like 40 feet, I'm not doing it, you'll leave. But in reality, I don't know, I got to get out there and measure it. But anyway.
It's big enough, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I've only done it a couple times. Okay, let's see. Will my headset bearings get ruined if my steer tube is cut the slightest bit too long? Absolutely not. No, you should be fine. As long as your steer tube is long enough to have both pinch bolts on the side of the stem making contact with the steer tube, then you shouldn't have any problems. But if it's slightly too long, only thing that you're going to really see is positive benefits, because when you go to sell your fork, it's going to be longer and easier to sell to someone that might have a bigger size bike than you.
Yeah, and one thing to add to that, having it properly tensioned and having no play in that's going to help keep those things lasting long.
Yeah, it really comes down to like making bearings in general last the longest and just not have to consistently mess around with things. Definitely just make sure that it's torqued correctly if it's like a bearing in like the pivot, something like that. Or if it's something that's just like a adjustable by kind of feel, just make sure that you either know what you're doing or go to someone that does, just to kind of make sure it feels nice and snug.
And I think living in Southern California helps with bearings, and not living in Washington.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Are we ever going to go to Utah? Jason goes to Utah all the time. I have not been to Utah to ride yet, but do you go ride dirt bikes there?
It's been a while. I haven't been there since I lived in Montana, but Utah is awesome.
Huh. Sweet. Cool. All right, let's see. Well, now we have gotten through all of the Instagram messages, so now let's just start going through some of the messages that we have on YouTube. Let's see. And also, I don't think that the microphone, I think that we're just going through the laptop mic. I don't know what's going on with the microphone. It's not working. Anyway, sorry if the audio quality is not 100% this time. But anyway, let's see. Dirty Smaw Rick said, love your vids. They are super, super helpful. Thank you very much. I don't know what your name means, but thank you very much. Brad Yaple's online. Brad's a good friend of mine. And Russ's. Hi, Brad. Nice to see you. I didn't know you have internet out there in the middle of the woods. Let's see. Doggleman said, hey, what's up? What's up, dude? Okay, cool. We got one from Steven. Is a tiny tweak in my rim worth getting Trude? It's a slight bend, just enough to be annoying. Can most stores true wheels?
I would hope most stores would be able to true wheels. I don't know your store, but I would hope most would. Tiny bend, if you can certainly feel it while you're riding, it's worth having checked out. Also, I would squeeze the spokes and make sure that none of them are loosening up. And if that is the case, definitely have it looked at.
For sure. Let's see. Someone is, Yeah, I don't know. Someone is watching and they're drinking a beer at Bellingham Public Library. That's probably not a good idea. I'll just be honest. I mean, why? Sure, why not? Okay. Anyway, so yeah. So what's up, guys? I think that we've got some people here right now. We've got 29 people watching. If you guys have any questions, it doesn't even have to be mechanical. Anything about like parts upgrades or setting up your bike, setting up suspension, anything like that, then definitely let us know in the live chat. We'll answer it right now. So Mike Collins just asked, why is there lateral play and race face pedals? Any way to adjust that?
They're not really adjustable other than putting new bearings in them, and depending on how old they are, some of the earlier versions had issues and they have offered upgraded bearing kits for them. That's something to look into, but you can adjust it, you just have to replace the bearings.
True. All right, let's see if we got any more questions on Instagram. I think that's about it on Instagram. Sweet.
Austin,
Austin is a bad influencer.
you're okay.
All right. Anyway, where did you ride this weekend, Russ?
Mostly cedar dust jumps. My son's 11, and he is all about going to hit jump lines, and that's where we hung out most of the time. A-Dog, a few other little trails here and there. But,
and that's on Galbraith here in Bellingham. Galbraith. Yeah. I went to Whistler. I rode a day in Whistler. It was pretty fun.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, my girlfriend overextended her arm, and so we only rode like a half a day. And then we didn't ride bikes the next day because I also crashed and smashed my leg into the ground. Yeah, I forgot to tell you about that. Yeah. I rode up berm and it was like so blown out that it was like the top of the berm was like here, but then the rest of the berm was like this far back.
All pushed in.
Yeah, all pushed in, and I just like accidentally high-sided up on the berm and just like crashed right on my side. Let's see. Okay, guys, we need some mechanical questions. Does anybody have any questions about stuff? Otherwise, we're just going to start talking about random things, which may or may not be more entertaining. Who knows? Let's take a look. I've put some stuff on the table in case we had a lull. Yeah. So
new tires.
Yeah. Want to tell them about the WTV Verdict?
Verdict's a new tire from them, and it comes in a standard Verdict and a wet Verdict, which I can't remember what the knob height difference is, a couple millimeters, but so far in soft soil, they seem amazing.
Yeah, I haven't ridden one yet. I had the Vigilante on my last bike, and then the Verdict just came out. Mm-hmm. So it's basically more of a Minion DHF style tire. That's just the kind of the way it looks to me. In comparison to the Vigilante is, I don't know, it's like in between like a DHF and like a
Mary
and like a Magic Mary or something like that. So should be a good tire. Okay, cool. We've got some questions rolling in. So here's a question. Hi from Australia. I'm building up a Norco site with a Kashima Fox DPX2. Any tips for setup?
No, I mean, well, yeah. Get your sag set first on that guy, and typically on the site I found you're going to run the compression fairly wide open, or at least start there. Get your rebound dialed in, and then dial in the compression after that, which is a typical setup for, order of operation for most shocks. The thing to be aware of on that setup is the compression and the rebound have a lot of crossover. So especially when you add more compression, you're also adding more rebound damping. So just be aware of that as you're moving those around.
Yeah, I think you got all that. Like DPX2, super easy to set up compared to like a Float X2 or DHX2. Yeah. There's not much going on, but yeah, like Russ was saying, just pretty much start with that compression open and kind of work from there. Then we just had another question come from Tim or Thim. I'm not sure. He has a Fox CTD with an Evil air sleeve. Evil shock. What was that? Oh, shock fell. And it feels no different from climb and descent. Is it shot?
It sounds like it certainly needs some work. If there is no change whatsoever, then it's going to need to be rebuilt. Try also, when you're bouncing on it, don't bounce on it really heavy. Just kind of put some light undulation into it. See if you can feel something. Because a lot of the CTDs, there's not a huge difference between the trail and the descend mode, but it should firm up pretty well in climb mode.
Yeah, and Tim, if you are having consistent issues and you don't have a shop nearby that can rebuild it, or if they can rebuild it and they're not necessarily super experienced with it, I just sent a link in the live chat on the bottom right of the video. I set a link to our website so you can actually go and just basically order a shock service from us. And once you buy it, you can send your shock into us. Russ here will rebuild it, and we'll send it back to you. Then you don't have to worry about anything, just to make sure that everything is working properly. And also, if you guys haven't had your suspension service, fork shock, seat post, in over a year, I really recommend servicing it. In terms of service intervals, it's definitely... there's a general way to put it, and then there's also more in-depth way. I mean, there's technically service intervals, but if you're riding a lot in the mud or dust, basically if you're just riding a ton all the time, you're going to want to do it a little bit more prematurely.
Typically, lowers and air cans, for most people, about every 50 hours of ride time. That's actual ride time, not sitting in the garage or on the chairlift. And about every 100 hours for a full teardown. Some go a little longer. Some need to be serviced a little more often. Obviously, if you're pounding laps at Whistler, it's going to be more often. If you're riding cross-country stuff, you can go a little longer. Yeah, and back in Illinois, I'm from Illinois, and most of the riders that we worked on their suspension were all cross-country riders. And just because you're not riding like the stuff that you see in like Red Bull videos and stuff all the time, if you're still riding a lot, you got to get your fork service. I would see, probably about 3 forks a month where the stanchions were just like super chewed through the coating. And just gone. Yeah, so you got to make sure that you have oil, or at least clean oil, in the fork. So and one thing too, as far as the longevity of your stuff, when you're getting ready to go ride and putting your gear on, turn the bike upside down, let all that oil drain up around the seals and the bushings, and that way you're starting your ride on a lubricated fork and not on a dry fork. Yeah, and then we got another question. Preston Richardson asks, I'm setting up a new wheel set and I don't have a torque wrench for the brake rotors. Do you recommend buying a torque wrench before install? I would say if you're not good with understanding torque specs and how they feel on your hand, then certainly, and I think for most people, having a torque wrench is a smart idea. I don't always use one, but I've tightened millions of bolts over a long period of time, and I can get 50 inch-pounds within probably 3 or 4 inch-pounds with my hand. So that's kind of a weird anomaly. Yeah, totally. Built-in torque wrench. Comes with experience. Just if you're not comfortable, and also if you just don't have a torque wrench in general, and you have like a nice high-end bike, I'd highly recommend it. I just dropped a link to our website where you can get basically an adjustable Park Tool torque wrench. You can do it from 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, and 6 Newton meters. That's going to be great for things like brake rotors. I think rotors are generally 6 Newton meters, I believe. Yeah. And seat posts, stems, most stuff on a bike is between 4 and 6 newtons. So yeah, especially if you have a carbon bike with carbon bars or a high-end super lightweight stem, they definitely have really lightweight materials, and you don't want to over torque them and start pulling threads out. And you also don't want to, of course, like smush your carbon bars. So that's expensive, and then if you break your carbon bars, that's going to hurt, and that's going to be expensive to fix your body. So let's see. We got another question here. How old am I? I don't know. We're a couple years old. And then let's see. And then Austin says, "Hi, Cider Club. Nice. Anyone install front shock on a Krampus? I have a Krampus, but I hesitate to go for the 4 because it will totally change the bike." I have not put on a Krampus. I haven't. I've only sold a few Krampus bikes. One was in the shop the other day, and no, I've never tried to put a fork on one. But it'd be great to experiment with, for sure. It's doable. It just depends on what you expect out of it. Nice. Ron H. just said, I have a new Hanzo, by the way, nice, Kona Hanzo, coming in 2 weeks. Does the shop usually bed in the brakes, or is that something I should do? If so, any tips? Depends on the shop. Yep, we do. Definitely want to do a test ride on all the bikes and get the brakes bed in. They're going to bed in further after the customer leaves the store. But, depending on where you're getting it, hopefully they've at least gone outside, done a few brakes in the parking lot, and got them up to where they're at least workable. Yeah, otherwise you'd buy a super nice bike with really nice brakes and then they just don't work.
And then it's probably a deterrent, too, for customers coming in being like, yeah, I rode that bike, but the brakes didn't work very well.
I went to the top of the hill and braked hard all the way down, and then now my brakes are non-functional.
Let's see. Brad asked, our friend Alex's rear derailleur is squeaking with the oval chainring since it's moving. Ever had this issue? How do you resolve it?
Where is it?
So, Brad. So Alex has an oval chainring.
The rear derailleur is squeaking?
Yeah, he's got an XT rear derailleur, and it's squeaking as it moves while he's pedaling. The cage is squeaking, apparently.
I would have to see it. It may be the clutch. I would see if it squeaks with the clutch on versus the clutch off if it's an XT. And if it does it both ways, you may be able to lubricate. There's a little seal around where the cage moves there, and you may be able to just drop a little lube on there and get the creak or the squeak to go away. But if it does it when the clutch is engaged but not engaged, then you'd have to pull that cover off and just lubricate the clutch.
Here's a really good question, actually. Vance82 Cummings says, does a heavier coil on a DHX2 or any coil shock make the rebound faster?
Yes, it does. Anytime you add air pressure to a shock or more force, being a heavier coil, then yeah, if you go the next, if you got a 450 and you go to a 500, you're probably going to have to screw the rebound in a couple clicks.
Yeah, good question, though. Super good question. Yeah. A lot of stuff in suspension, correct me if I'm wrong, Russ, is very, everything's kind of, it works together. Mm-hmm. So air pressure, spring rate, compression and rebound, all is slightly going to kind of work together and slightly change each other and how the shock reacts to many different scenarios.
For the most part, some shocks, you'll find the Float X2 versus the DPX, you'll have less crossover effect. The push is great as far as, very little, if none, between rebound and compression. And a lot of the new, double barrel style of shocks, they've gotten away from everything being controlled by the mid valve, which is on the piston that's moving up and down, and moving those adjustments to your base valve. And there's a lot more, or a lot less crossover that way.
Yeah, sweet. So Tyler Winans asks, my rear rim makes a ping noise whenever I hit the ground after a bunny hop or hitting a rock while riding fairly fast. I know it's not my rim contacting the ground. What could that be?
First place I would check would be spoke tension. If the spokes are properly tensioned, then I guess you just have to move forward from there. I mean, it's like chasing down a creek. You're going to take the most likely culprit and kind of move out from there. So check the hub next. One thing it could be, if you're slapping down, the chain could be pulling really fast on the cassette. So you could have, especially on a more base level hub, you could have those pawls engaging super fast, and that could be a creak or a pop or something like
that. I would start with tensioning your wheel for sure.
Spoke tension's the first thing you're going to look at.
I just hear the word ping, and it makes me think of a spoke.
Yeah.
Like, even if you didn't say it was your wheel and I heard the word ping, like, what could it be? I would say spoke tension. So cool. Luke Cyril asks, what's the simplest way to bleed Magura MT5 brakes?
The simplest way, you're gonna hook your syringe up on both ends. Obviously, you're gonna remove the brake pads, but just cycling fluid from one end to the other and back, and usually, by about 4 cycles back and forth, you're gonna have all the fluid out there. The keys to any brake is that the connections both on the caliper and the master cylinder need to be at the top of that particular part. So if you've got an air pocket down here and your bleed valve is here, all the air is going to come up. If it's the other way around, or especially on your calipers where most people go wrong, where they'll have the bike in the stand and the bleed nipples below and the top of the caliper sitting here, and if you have an air bubble up here, it's not going to come out. Everything has to be facing up where the hose is connected.
Sweet. That was, nothing to add. Let's see. Let's
like
Next
some
question.
Illinois buddies.
Oh, Illinois people. Oh, that's not good. Okay. Giacomo Leopardi asks, my suspension fork makes a weird noise when I drop my front wheel. What could it be?
That could be a plethora of things.
Yeah.
It's that one's hard to nail down. It could be something in the compression damper. It could be your steer tube. It could be anything. That's something where you'd have to, a mechanic would have to hear it to know, and you couldn't put that one on the phone.
Totally. That's
you can't ask the fork on the phone.
Yes. put the fork on the phone, and we'll ask it what's going on. All right. Is a hub with a QR 141 a 148 boost with QR adapters?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Same hub shell. 141. Is exactly that. It is a boost hub with QR end caps.
Sweet, easy. Austin Oslopos says, rule of thumb: 17 pounds of torque equals about a full loaf of bread crushed as hard as you can.
I like that. I also learned one time that if you put a small pack of Fig Newtons at about 1 meter, it's about 1 Newton meter.
Wow.
Thanks, Chris Jones.
You're pretty smart. I didn't even know that one.
That's Chris Jones.
Eating Fig Newtons my whole life. Sweet, let's see. Okay, cool. Darren Klein. This is a good one. This is a really good one. My SRAM Code R brakes seem they always need to be bled. My Shimano XT brakes never had that problem. Is it just me? Thinking about going back to XT brakes. Thoughts? Question mark. Sounds like you've been trying to bleed them a lot and can't quite get the bleed done correctly, or it's just not turning out as good as you'd hope. It sounds like you should definitely take a visit to a shop with a really good mechanic. If you can't get the bleed super correct, it sounds like there's air trapped in the system somewhere.
And with the Code Rs, if for some reason the lever feels good, but you don't have enough power, a lot of the Code Rs come with organic pads, and they are not as powerful as the metallic pads. And with the Code Rs, they don't have the same mechanism that pushes the plunger in, and so you're not going to get. There's a pretty big difference in power between a Code R and a Code RSC. So if it feels good, definitely recommend metallic pads in the codes. They have a ton more bite and will feel way more powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Our demo bikes, I just dropped a link too, by the way. If you want to pick up some metallic pads from us, feel free. Also, guys, if you need anything on the website right now, just use the code SHIPFREE and you'll get free shipping and everything. So it's basically going to be most likely cheaper than just like walking down the street and going to a shop. And you can order it from your couch. And there's going to be no tax if you're out of state. So free shipping, whatever, should help you guys. And yeah, our demo bikes came with organic pads. They just like don't work. Like for the riding that we're doing, a lot of OEM brands will spec the bikes with organic pads, keep the price down, and also keep the brakes quieter. Typically less complaints with quieter brakes. But if you're doing aggressive riding, definitely put metallic pads in pretty much right away. You'll be a lot happier on any sort of aggressive riding, and they also work way better in the wet. They also last a bit longer too than organic pads as well, since they aren't as soft. Let's see, we got another question. I don't know if that's a question. Fig Newton plus torque equals lost pro tip. Okay, another question about DHX2. On the DHX2, the Rebound has an arrow and says slower. Does this literally mean it slows down the rebound or slow down the rebound dampening, which will make the rebound faster?
Well, slowing down the rebound and slowing down, I get what you're saying with the slowing down the rebound damping. When you move it to slower, it's going to make the shock rebound slower. So you're not taking away rebound damping, you're adding rebound damping, which slows it down.
Yeah, and another way too, if you're ever confused with suspension settings, definitely just sit on the bike and do the extremity test. So turn it like full clockwise, bounce up and down on the bike, see how it feels, and then full counterclockwise, see how that feels. It's going to be really easy on a DHX2 or a shock like the Bomber CR, pretty much anything, if you just like crank the rebound all the way slow, then this thing is going to be like a deflated basketball. Like it's going to come up so...
Yeah, it'll do nothing.
It'll basically do nothing. But if you go all the way to the fastest position, it's going to be like a pogo stick. So pretty easy to figure out if you just take a couple minutes and just do the extremity test. So let's see.
I had one other thing too, because we just had somebody in, got a Floatex 2, and if you're dealing with rebound issues, remember that, you know, high and low speed rebound and compression isn't related to how fast you're going. And it's easier for some people to think of the rebound damping as position sensitive. So your low speed rebound is from, you know, the beginning of the stroke, small undulations, and your high speed rebound damping is more end of stroke, so coming from deep into it. Like if you're hitting a G out, big lip or something to where the shock's fully loaded and then it's all of a sudden unloaded. Generally, I'm going to adjust those kind of scenarios with my high-speed rebound on my Floatex 2, and more of like the root chatter and just small stuff. I'm going to adjust it more with the low-speed rebound.
Sweet, absolutely. Cool. That would be a good question for you. So Mario V just asked, do you have to adjust suspension settings when you go from aluminum wheels to carbon wheels?
Typically not. I mean, the biggest thing that will affect your, especially with your rebound, will be the weight of the wheel. So if you have a drastic swing in how much your wheels weigh, you know, you're going to have to adjust the rebound a little bit to compensate. A heavier wheel may make it top out a little bit more, but typically carbon and aluminum, it's just more of a response time when you initiate a turn and do, you know, changes in motion. So less to do with your suspension.
Yeah. See, someone just said, Lowry Films just said, hi, I love your van. Thank you very much. I like my van too.
It is sick.
Let's see. Melly MTB, thank you very much for shout out. Just a little shout out to the Losco. They got my order delivered in like 2 days from Washington to Virginia. That service right there, highly recommend. Well, I would also say props to the Postal Service.
And Jason.
Yeah, and Jason and Russ. We all worked together on that one. Yeah, I mean, the post office, we put that thing on a truck. And they brought that across the country in 2 days. That's pretty impressive, honestly.
They had somebody else do it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, or it wasn't the boat donkey.
No,
we didn't use boat donkey shipping.
We didn't use boat donkey shipping, so...
Boat donkey shipping is a proprietary shipping service used by the Losco. It's the slowest shipping service ever, but it's also the most affordable. We can't promise it'll ever show up, and if it does, it will be a couple months.
And the donkey might eat the product.
The donkey might eat whatever you order, and if it does and there's like oil in it, it might get sick, and it might just cancel the order, and it might just like go on its own way, on its own journey. We basically put saddlebags on a donkey, put the product in the saddlebags, put the donkey on a boat, and it just takes whatever waterway possible to get there.
Say we should grab the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, our buddies at Groundkeeper Fenders, which do a ton of custom stuff, by the way. If you ever need anything made into a fender, those guys do a great job. We had custom boat donkey fenders made, which I think this is the coolest fender ever.
Yeah. I didn't put one on my bike yet. Oh, sweet. Put the boat donkey fender right up front and center.
Boat donkey.
That's what's up. Okay, cool. We're trying to watch ourselves to just like look at how cool we look with the boat donkey fender. Yep. All right, we're nerds. Let's put this back. Okay, cool. We got another question from Charles Tilson. What's up, Charles? How are you? Can a 29-inch Fox fork 170 millimeters replace a 27.5-inch Fox fork at 150 millimeters? And if not, why?
I mean, technically it could, but you're going from 27.5 to a 29, which brings it up, and you're going from 150 to 170, which also raises the front end of the bike. If that's your goal, is to get the front end of the bike as tall as possible, then why not? But
or if you're trying to do the mullet bike thing.
Or if you're trying to do a mullet bike, you could do that. Just be aware of how tall your bottom bracket might be after you do that. And if you're not sensitive to change of direction and stuff related to bottom bracket height and how high your weight sits on the bike, then I mean, there's nothing keeping you from doing it. Would I do it? That'd be pretty tall. That'd be a tough order, and your bike probably isn't going to handle the same.
That's everything. Yeah, sweet. So like you said, technically it could if you really wanted to. Yeah. Another question: is the Diamondback Atros 2 worth the price of $800? I don't know. Let's check it out. Let's go to the. Okay, we got the other screen. Okay, so now you can see what we're doing. Atros, which one does he want? Atros 2. Okay, let's see. Atros 2 from Diamondback. Is it worth $800? Let's see.
$899.99.
$899.99.
What do we got on there?
Suntour, SR Suntour, fork and shock. So 1 by something. Oh, it's 6 o'clock. Let's see. What is that? Like a 1 by 9?
Go to specs.
Let's see. We've got
Preload adjust.
1 by 9.
What breaks? That'd be the other.
Shimano MT200. Super basic.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's all what you want to do with it. If I were buying a bike, I think I would put that money, if that's all the money I had, I think I would be better served by getting a hardtail and having probably a better fork and possibly some other better components on it. If you have to have a full suspension, then, I mean, it's a great deal. It's got hydraulic brakes. It's
a cheap full suspension bike.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest problems I think I would have with it would be suspension related. The rear shock's gonna probably feel pretty pogo-y, and I've ridden that fork on, just random bikes here and there, and if you're within the target weight range of what that fork was made to do, it does move up and down, but there's very little control. And if you're outside of the target weight range, you're not gonna find aftermarket springs or anything for that guy.
Yeah, there's not much adjustment you can do really. It's a cheap full suspension bike. I would definitely rather have a nicer hardtail, probably.
I would too. I would take a nicer fork on a hardtail to get the most out of it than go that route.
Yeah. Also, the rear wheel, it's a quick release, 9mm quick release. So if you're going to be riding it, I think the fork is too. They're both QR. So I mean, if you're going to be riding it, if you plan on riding it pretty aggressively and you want a bike that's going to be able to hold up to abuse as you're like progressing as a rider, I'd definitely rather have a nicer hardtail for sure. Going to be less things to worry about. Like if you're landing sideways learning to jump, you might, move the wheel and the frame here and there. But all in all, it's you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And in this case, you're going to get, for $899, you're going to get a cheap entry-level bike.
It's certainly worth the $900.
Yeah.
But I guess that's just a decision you have to make.
Sweet. Let's see. Alex Bernardino, can I use metallic brake pads on rotors that says resin only? What will it do to the rotor?
It'll warp the rotor and pretty much destroy it.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen, and yeah, you probably have Shimano rotors. If you want to upgrade and get metallic pads, the RT66 rotor is fairly inexpensive. They're about $25 a rotor, and next time you're replacing your pads, for how little those rotors cost, I would just get some new rotors and pads while I'm at it.
Yeah. Alex, I just dropped a link. You order from us all the time, so you're really familiar with ordering from us. But yeah, basically go on to that link and you can grab some rotors and we'll ship them out tomorrow. And also pick up some metallic pads on the website while you're there. Your brakes will work, I guarantee you, a lot better if you're riding aggressively, if you're riding anything downhill, anything ever wet. It'll definitely have a lot more bite, a lot more power. Cool. And Gideon S. just sent us $2. Sweet. Thank you very much. Loves our videos. Thank you. Hopefully we have some more coming soon. I'm always saying that, and then every time I say that, it gets like super busy in the shop, and then something comes up and we are slammed working on bikes all the time. So guys, definitely keep in mind, we're like a real bike shop. We're like working on stuff all the time. We definitely try our best to make videos. That's kind of a secondary thing we got to do. We got to make sure that our customers are riding their bikes. So we do it as much as we can. So let's see. Brad Yapel asks, if you were to recommend a custom groundskeeper fender for my bike, what would it be?
Boat donkey?
Probably put a boat donkey on it, or I can't say it. What? I know what I want you to put on that fender.
We'll tell you.
We'll tell you later. We'll tell you later, Brad. I mocked one up one time. I didn't.
It involves a blender.
It involves a blender and pizza. Anyway, what's up, Drew? Drew's Enthiced. You made it. What's up? What about the GT Verb? I have no idea. Let's check that out. GT Verb. Okay, I'm going to go back to the screen where you can see everything. GT Verb. I have never heard of that bike. I see it's on Dick's Sporting Goods. There's a bug here.
Let's go to Dick's.
Love Dick's.
Australian.
Okay, for whatever. Why is it an Australian? 1 second. Maybe that works? No. Ah, snap. Okay, here we go.
Oh.
Let's find it. What is it called? The Verb? Mountain Trail? Maybe that's only a bike, a foreign bike? I know sometimes they do that. Remember?
Well, I think on their website they separate the...
There it is.
Oh, there we go.
Verb Elite. Okay, cool.
1365.
1365. It's got, what is that? Is that a... What is that?
I don't know.
It's probably an SR Suntour.
Probably.
Fork and rear shock. Super basic. Single pivot. 1x9, 10. 1x10.
Ooh, the rear shock's an Altera.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know either.
But hey, it's an Altera.
But at least the fork has rebound adjust. So
yeah, the fork is more adjustable.
You know it's got an oil damper, so that's good. Rebound adjust on the rear.
Yeah, okay. 1365. That's definitely a huge step up from the Diamondback Atros, whatever that was called.
Step up in price.
Yeah, so I mean, get what you pay for. You get another $500 to add another $500 to the price, and I'd say you get probably about $700 worth of upgrades or so. So
yeah,
something like that. So
what does the entry level Kona go for? Like the hey or
let's see. I don't remember. The entry level, the Hey Trail. Well, right now it's 20% off. So like the Hey Trails, this ends up being $19.19.
Do they have like a sub 2000?
I don't think they do. I know that they have the super basic process. The SE process 134 is $21.99. That's like the base one.
Okay.
But that's going to be starting to get into more of like the performance side of things.
I didn't know.
More
if they had
adjustability.
like a $1,500
no
starter bike or.
But we do sell the Marin Hawk Hill, and I always thought that this was probably the best bang for your buck bike. We had these in our in our demo fleet last year, and a couple times I took them out to shuttle because my bike was broken or whatever, and I thought they did great. They have good geometry. They're $15.99. It's going to be a little bit more adjustable suspension with rebound and adjustable compression. They don't come with a dropper post, but you can add one of those for about $120 these days. A 1x10 extended range drivetrain. So
15 or $15.99?
$15.99. So
yeah, I mean, judging from the components on it, I would say it's worth the extra $300.
Yeah, for sure. So, and then once you step up to the Hawk Hill 2, that's probably the actual best bang for your buck. $19.49, and you get this guy. You got a dropper post. You got a RockShox Recon. I think the RL with the black stanchion coating. 1x11, a little bit nicer brakes. That is, in my opinion, probably the best bang for your buck for a full suspension bike. When you get to the $1,500 to $2,200 range, it's a really good bike for the money. Cool. Let's go back to the screen.
Smuggler.
Cool. All right, let's get some questions going. Cool. So Charles Tilson, he was asking if he can replace his 27.5-inch Fox 36 with a 29-inch Fox 36. He said, the reason I asked the question about the fork is I'm trying to limit pedal strikes. I'm thinking of going to a 29er next year and didn't want to drop a load of money twice on a fork. That does make sense. If you're worried about pedal strikes, I would first check your cranks.
Yeah.
Do you have 175s or 170s? And also, how thick is your pedal? If you've got an old clunky pedal that's got a really thick platform, it's going to stick down, and you're going to definitely bang it on some things a lot more frequently. So,
and one thing to keep in mind too is styles of bikes have changed. If you don't live in an area where you're sharing the trails with horses and stuff gets rutted out, part of it may be also getting used to modern bikes with a lower bottom bracket. I don't know what your old bike is, but there is I do see a lot of that. People had the same bike for a long time, and they get a newer bike, and they are getting lower, which can cause pedal strikes, but also makes them handle better.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I've seen a lot of people that have their sag set incorrectly. If you got like a 40 or 50% sag accidentally, or like you bought a bike used and never set it up for yourself, you're going to be sitting lower into the travel. You're going to get a lot more pedal strikes. So something like that. Also, if you do have a bike with a shock that locks out, you're typically going to add a lot of compression, stay a little bit higher in the travel. You're not going to go as deep into the sag or as deep into the shock's travel, so you'll stay a little bit off the ground, higher off the ground as well.
Check your sag.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. What are torque caps, and should I get them? Fork says torque cap compatible. That was a bad reading.
So you got a RockShox, because those are the torque cap compatible ones. RockShox came out with that, and what it does is instead of the end cap of the hub coming out, it comes out and then it flares up, so the contact surface on the inside of the fork where they contact is just a greater contact area, and it makes the steering interface stiffer. If your hub is compatible with them, if you've got a DT hub and they make them, and your local shop's got one, or if you want us to order you one, yeah, they're worth getting. Would I go and trade my wheel set that I like to something else just to get torque caps? Probably not. If I'm going to spend $30-$35 on a set of torque caps, then yeah, I would do it. But I wouldn't spend $500, because the difference is, there's a difference, but how much your average person can actually feel that difference, it's going to be minute.
Yeah. Same thing with a lot of things in bikes too. Like, a lot of things are in mountain biking are grains of salt, like especially something like torque caps, where
Boat donkey falling down.
Yeah, boat donkey fender, that does make a difference. I've seen Jason rides like a bat out of hell ever since he got that.
I'm way faster with boat donkey.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
faster than the boat donkey.
That boat donkey is really slow. But anyway, a lot of things like real small settings in suspension, changing your air pressure, running a lighter casing tire or a heavier casing tire, running carbon bars versus aluminum bars, depending on the brand, things like that. They all work together to make the bike overall a better experience to ride and a little bit better feeling, more responsive, more stiff, more forgiving in the right places, etc., etc. So, all right, let's see.
There was a smuggler.
Oh yeah.
Right there.
So Kurt Robertson just said, I currently ride a Transition Smuggler, looking to replace it with a similar bike, but not the new Smuggler. $3,000 for frame only is too much for me to swallow. What would you recommend?
Well, it sounds like you're going alloy. I think something in that range, depending on if you want more travel or not. The Process would be a great bike in that. It's going to have more travel. It's actually got the same head angle, so it handles similar to the Smuggler. Currently I'm on a Sentinel. I went from a Smuggler to that, and that was a great replacement because I thought it climbed just as well, but goes downhill. But it's definitely not a bike for everyone. But I mean, there's a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, the world of bikes is pretty crazy right now. There's a lot of bikes out there, so making a decision on a new bike is definitely pretty tough.
I would need more parameters than that. I mean, price range.
Are you looking for more travel?
Yeah.
Are you looking for
less travel?
More aggressive geometry, less aggressive geometry?
More weight, less weight.
Do you find like the bike that you have right now is too much for what you're riding, or not enough for what you're riding in terms of how aggressive the geometry is and how much travel it has? Do you want a lighter bike? Your bike, too light? You like a little bit heavier bike for plowing through stuff? Yeah. So, Mario V just asked, we are one carbon wheels. Your take on them? I really like them. I ran them last year. I didn't smash a single rim, and I definitely hit them into rocks a lot.
They're killer.
Yeah, I'd really recommend them. There's a lot of carbon wheel brands out there right now.
Yeah, I'm partial. I own Cascade Racing Designs, and we do carbon wheels, carbon handlebars, aluminum stems, all that kind of stuff. So I'm partial, but yeah, I mean the We Are One stuff, it's great.
Yeah, they do a good job. They make it all in-house, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So not only are they engineering it, but they make it in-house. Pretty cool. So I've seen them growing quite a bit, and they make dang good stuff. And if you guys are interested, I just dropped a link to CascadeRacingDesigns.com. Russ here, our head mechanic, owns a carbon wheel and handlebar company. And he also just came out with stems, which are super badass. Actually, I'm going to go grab one. You want to just go talk about what you guys make for a second?
Yeah. So currently, we've got rims and handlebars on the site. We do 3 different handlebars. One of those comes in 2 different rises. And yeah, 27.5 and a 29 rim, 29 millimeter inside. We've got some new prototypes that should be hopefully hitting the market here in the next 4 or 5 months. And the stem's really kind of what I'm stoked on right now. It's 100 grams, tie bolts, super nice. I don't know if the camera, how much detail it
Here,
is
I'll
there,
put them
but-
there, and I'll go zoom in on them. All right.
We do have some pre-pros of these too. So if anybody wants to get one of the pre-pros early, actually that's one of them there. They can email either info@Cascade Racing Designs or info@the Lost Co. And if you're interested in one of those, these guys were selling them. Those are 33% off. It's the normal stem's 150 retail, and we're selling these for $100. I think I've only got 3 or 4 of those guys left. But if you want one, shoot us an email. We certainly get you one of the pre-pros. Strength-wise, shape-wise, everything is the same as the production stem. Just the logos are different.
Yeah, on my bike that I'm currently riding, which is technically a demo bike before mine gets built up, I'm just like waiting on a couple last minute parts to build that up. But all of our demo bikes have the CRD stems on them, and I've been shredding them at Whistler, and it's been great. So
yeah, it's super strong. One thing we really worked on was clamp force and how well this will hold the steer tube without deforming the steer tube. And at 5 Newton meters, it tests as high as anything out there, including other stems that you're just reefing on to get that kind of clamp force. And the handlebars, we use a bottom lock design, so it mounts flush on the bottom, and then you adjust the tension on the top. Blake calls it pants up technology, so don't get caught with your pants down. And it comes, you can pick your color, and then you can pick natural tie, black tie, or rainbow tie as far as the bolts go. And those should be on our website and on Mike's website here coming up in the next week or so.
Yeah, I'm pumped because they're oil slick bolts and they look sick. So, and they're super light, and they're actually machined here in Bellingham too.
Yeah, 100% made in the U.S., made in Bellingham. Yeah.
Let's see. Got a couple questions here. Sweet. Reed Mason just asked if we own the studio that we're in. Yeah, this is in the bike shop. This is just a spare room in the bike shop, and this is where we have we do all of our video production and stuff in here. So pretty cool to have. It's just unfortunate we haven't been able to use it much lately because we've been working on bikes. So
It's go time. It's the busy season, and we're just cranking out bikes.
Yeah. Let's see. John. Okay, so Kurt Robinson. Let's go back to that. He was asking about the Smuggler.
Okay.
So he says he wants to stay the same geometry and the same travel.
Same geometry, same travel,
But cheaper.
but less expensive. And I guess the biggest problem is, and I've heard this complaint about the Smuggler from other people, is that My smuggler was aluminum,
Mhm.
and now they only make it in carbon, so
Oh.
that raised the price.
Yeah, didn't know that.
It's really tough to get around the geometry. I think the thing that makes that bike special is that, the head angle's somewhere in the middle, but I think that was really the one bike that kind of nailed down that SVG geometry that that's their tag for it. But it really does handle really well.
Oh no, lost video. I think the camera died. Oh shoot, the camera died. Hold on everybody. Camera died.
We're fixing that. Is that a battery issue or?
What? We've just been on for a while. I think the camera uses a little bit more power when and I keep forgetting to buy a power adapter to plug it straight into the wall. So I don't know if that works or not now.
Yeah,
And we're back. Okay, sweet. I just gotta refocus it.
Yeah, in terms of the smuggler, I guess I'd have to do some more research and see what else is out there in that same travel range. For the same amount, or for about the same amount of money as what the old smuggler was. Or you can, there might be some, especially in Bellingham, there's probably quite a few of last year's smugglers around.
Yeah.
If you live close to here, there's a lot of transitions in Bellingham, just like there's a lot of Konas. And finding one at the end of the year when people are swapping up, that's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, demo some bikes. Even look at used bikes. There's a lot of good deals. A lot of people, especially lately with how popular mountain biking is, people aren't exactly sure what bike they want. They get on a bike and they realize that they want to do a different style of riding right away, and then they end up selling their bike that they just bought.
And I keep seeing more and more bikes that are on the used market that aren't just absolutely destroyed. Like, I always think of the older Kona Stinkies, and every time you'd see one on the used market, you're like, oh, don't buy that one.
Save yourself.
It's trash. But I see more and more. A guy came in with, I can't remember what bike it was, but NV wheels and tons of really trick stuff that he had bought for $3,000, and it was like a $12,000 build that was barely used. So deals are out there.
Sweet. Oh, okay. Now the microphone started working again.
Oh,
so. All right, sorry everybody for that. I don't know what's going on today. The microphone was being weird, and then the camera died, but we're back.
I guess we're better at wrenching on bikes than video tech.
Well, I feel like an old man when I feel like an 80-year-old hooking all this stuff up. I'm like, there's too many goddamn cables, and I can't figure out which one to. It's like I plug in the camera, and then it just doesn't work. And then I'll shake a couple things and walk away for 5 minutes. I come back, and then it works again. So it's really frustrating hooking up the live stream. When we started doing this, I thought it was just going to be like, oh, you just hook up all the wires and you just go live.
Yeah, but better you than me.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's get back to some questions. Someone asked if we're going to go to Utah and ride sometime.
I would love to.
Yeah. Hey, Keaton Ives, if you want us to come to Utah, there's one way to get that done. You just got to send us a bunch of money. And we'll come.
Plane tickets.
Plane tickets, and you gotta also let us sleep.
I want to drive.
Sleep at your place. Yeah, we don't want to drive.
I would want to drive.
Oh, you would want to
I
drive.
want to bring both bikes.
Oh, okay. You have 2 bikes?
Well, I got the big twisty bike.
Oh, he wants to bring the one with an engine.
Yeah.
And you pour gasoline in it, and then it goes.
I got those too.
Let's see. Okay.
No audio happening.
No, yeah, I think it's delayed, so it should just be one now. So. Okay, cool. Let's see. Any other questions? Any ideas on what silent hubs won't break the bank? Onyx is nice, but not too nice on the wallet. I gotta plug the laptop in.
Shimano's got, or at least they had some silent hubs before, but and they won't break the bank, but they won't last long either. What I would do is revel in the fact that your non-silent hub, when you're behind your buddies, makes them really nervous and makes them get out of your way. Alex says the audio is better.
Okay, sweet. Thank you. I don't know why I didn't work earlier. Okay, we got a question from Instagram. It says, bought a new chain and now it's skipping. Do I need a new cassette?
Probably.
How old is your cassette? Is your cassette... How many chains have you changed on your current drivetrain setup. Have you been through a couple? Did you buy the drivetrain new? How old is it?
Measure your old chain also if you've got a chain checker, and if your old chain's super stretched out, everything wears as a group. The chain ring, the cassette, the chain, and if your chain's super stretched out, you usually can't just replace the chain and expect things to happen well.
Yeah. Sweet. They said that we can stay at their place. That's cool.
Alright.
Keaton Ives, okay. Do we have much to do tomorrow? We can set some tickets aside. We can make our way over to Idaho.
Maybe in the fall.
Yeah.
Utah?
Cool, let's see.
Go through Idaho.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what else we got here. No, that was the last Instagram question. Okay, cool. Let's see this guy.
Kurt Robertson, he's got Onyx hubs and loves them. Yeah, I mean, if you're down for the cost of a high-end hub, Onyx are great. They got a new Vesper hub coming out. It's supposed to be out the end of this month. That should qualm some of the weight guys or weight weenies, and yeah, they're awesome.
Onyx hubs, the rear hub is about twice as heavy as one DT240, correct?
It is almost exactly 2 DT240 hubs in weight, which
Cool.
is probably why I don't run them.
And while we're on that, we got another question from SB. Thanks for answering my silent hub question, but another one. Is it better to leave the clutch on an XT rear derailleur when not using the bike for a week, or does it weaken the clutch spring?
It does not weaken the clutch spring. So the way those work, there's a spring that clasps around it, and anything that would wear on that, it's not going to matter whether you leave it on or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only reason they have a switch to turn them off is so it's easier to get the wheel back.
Kurt Robertson says he likes to sneak up on people like a ninja. Trail ninjas.
I like to make people nervous, especially a whistler.
Yeah. Let's see. B-Bowl MTV. I'm looking at the NS Snab 130. Any thoughts on how the Snab rides? Well, I used to have the Snab. It was the Snab E, which had 165 millimeters of travel, and I thought that bike rode pretty dang good. It was really good at going downhill. It didn't pedal super well, but again, that was a 6-inch long travel bike. It's definitely made to go downhill a lot more than it is made to go uphill. And so far on the Kona process, I found it to be a little bit more I feel like it's a little bit better at doing kind of everything. It's better at being a trail bike.
So what you're saying is more better?
It's more better, yeah, I'd say, slightly. But it was a great bike. One problem you might have is if you are in the USA, it's really hard to track down an NS Snab. We actually used to sell them, but the distributor chose to stop carrying full suspension frames from NS for whatever reason. So, yeah, I don't know. But let's see. Another question. Drew said 2.25-inch tires on 35 millimeter rims. What's the worst that can happen if I'm not railing berms or huge drops?
I mean, really the worst is that the tire profile is going to be out enough to where you're going to leave your sidewalls open for cuts and things. But, I mean, it'll still run. It might be a little square on the profile and not dig in as well, or on hard pack it might be a little skatey. But that's the worst thing that would happen. I mean, they'll still fit. It'll still stay on the rim.
Let's see. So someone just asked what our favorite grips are, and so I was going to put up both of our favorite grips. So mine are the ODI Elite Pro, and Russ's are the Renthal
super tacky traction grip.
Yeah, let me find that. Here it is.
Or ultra tacky.
So
the ultra tackies, they wear a little faster, but especially if you wear gloves, you can kind of loosen your grip and not have to hold on as tight, and just it eases the fatigue. So
yeah.
I like
Yeah, I just like the ODI Elite Pros because they have a little bit of a contour that goes in the middle of your hand, and it's just really comfy. I really like a grip with the waffle pattern on the back to hold your fingers when you're hanging off the back of the bike. So overall, I really just like the ODI Elite Pro. I've been running that for 2 years now, and Russ definitely said that if the Renthal grips ran out of stock in the world, he'd probably.
I could run either one. That's a great grip. And the Renthal also, it's very similar. It's got kind of traction going one way with your fingers and the other way with your palm, so it's It's very directional. If you get a pair and you set them up, just pay attention. It has top, it has forward arrows, and you want to set it up a certain way, just like the other one. It has a certain position you want to be in.
Yeah.
But they're both awesome.
Yeah, definitely recommend, if you're like installing grips, this might sound stupid, but you can install grips wrong, like very, very wrong. We've got bikes going in the shop all the time, and we don't blame people because like they don't really, you just don't think about it.
Yep.
But we've seen some that one is upside down, one is like slightly tilted backwards, and it just doesn't match your hand. And
ergos is something you should pay attention to. But yeah, it happens all the time. The same with people with bars rolled way in their lap or bars pushed super far forward because the bike doesn't fit them. And it's not going to make the bike any bigger by rolling your bars up.
Yeah. Let's see. What's the biggest jumps or drops you would hit with 150 millimeters and traveling back? I wouldn't really limit myself. It would just be more harsh.
Yeah, the travel, it might make the landing a little harsher, but I think head angles and geometry makes more of a difference as far as what I'm going to hit big than the amount of travel.
Yeah. Let's see. This is a great one, actually. Kurt Robertson. Tire recommendation. Russ is going to like this one. Tire recommendation. I live in Las Vegas, dry, loose, and rocky. Need to replace my DHR and DHF. I'm going to guess that you're going to say ass guy front, aggressor rear.
I don't know down there. I think, personally, I would either go ass guy, and that's not how you say that, front and rear, or I would go with the ass guy in the front and then a DHR in the rear. I've ridden not a ton of stuff in Vegas, but Bootleg Canyon a few times at Interbike Demo. But yeah, lots of big tread and grippy compound is what you guys need down there for sure.
Yeah. Let's see. So SB asks, is it okay to bottom out on a fork/shock once or twice in a trail? If you hit that trail, say 4 to 5 times in a weekend for practice, is it still okay for the suspension bottoming out? PSI is correct for sag percentage.
I would say that if it's a harsh bottom out, it's like a metal on metal clank, then I wouldn't want to do that multiple times per run. But especially on like a downhill bike or an aggressive bike, if you just kind of barely kiss the bottom, use all the travel once or twice a run, that sounds like it's set perfect.
Let's see. Tim McGrath asks, I have a DHX2 running 1 3/4 preload. Would it be better to go up a spring size with less preload?
Don't focus so much. Well, I guess, is that 1 3/4 turns, or is that 1 3/4 inches? So on a DHX2 or any coil shock, basically what you want to do is compress the spring to where you just get the slack out of it and then go 1 full revolution past that. For most shocks, that's your starting point, and the sweet spot is going to be from there to adding 3 more full turns of preload on it. And anywhere in that point, you should have your sag set correctly. If you have to back it off to where it's slack, or if you have to add 5 or 6 turns, you need a lighter or heavier spring. If I got 6 turns of preload on there past that normal spot, then you'd have to go to a stiffer spring.
Sweet. Julian Pastor asks, my reverb is acting funky. It squishes when I sit on it without the lever being pushed.
Mm-hmm. The seat post needs to be rebuilt. It's actually one of the easier droppers to service at home if you have the wherewithal to. If you can rebuild a rear shock, you can rebuild the reverb. It's basically a shock that's locked out, and we also offer that service with service kit and everything. It runs about $150 for a full teardown. Goes through the line, goes through the post, and just redoes everything or replaces all the seals. But unfortunately, bleeding the line isn't going to take care of that sagging issue. And one thing to add that not everybody knows, especially on a reverb and with a lot of the other posts too, when it's down, never pull up on it. If you got to lift up the bike or do anything, have the post up, because that's generally is what causes that sagging post.
Yeah, absolutely. Jesus asks, will doing small jumps on a low-end XC bike end up in a mechanical failure? Not necessarily. Are you riding smooth, or are you straight up hucking that thing flat down like a concrete 10 set of stairs?
Yeah, you're hucking big and you're on, a Walmart bike. Buyer beware.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I mean, it comes down to probably how smooth you are rather than the bike. Most bikes, even the entry level bikes, they're really meant to take more abuse than what most people will give them. But check it every time you go ride. You should be checking your bike out. Check the brakes. Make sure there's nothing loose, nothing falling off the bike. And I mean that goes whether you have an $800 bike or a $10,000 bike.
Yeah, mid-level aggressive in terms of what you're riding. Yeah, I mean you can make it happen as long as you're riding smooth.
Yeah.
Let's see. SB asks, what's easier to DIY service, Fox 36 or Lyric? Currently using a DVO Diamond and looking to change.
I would say they're about the same. The Lyric probably takes one, maybe two less specific tools, but in terms of ease of service, where most people who are doing their own stuff was going to be lower services most of the time, and they're really the same. I mean, it's the same exact procedure. There's really no difference as far as ease of service.
Yeah, I would agree. I've been doing them both for several years, and they're real on par. You can get them both done in about the same amount of time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's see. In terms of actually doing it versus DVO, I would say that the Fox and RockShox are both way easier than a DVO. I know a lot of the DVO stuff is definitely labeled as you can rebuild it all on your own, but honestly, you definitely can. But RockShox and Fox, they're basically the same to each other, RockShox and Fox, but versus the DVO, they're a lot more simple. So I would really recommend if you want something a little bit easier, a little bit.
Yeah, the biggest difference is getting the lower knobs off on the DVO. You definitely want to remember and write down your settings when you do it, because when you back off the foot nuts, it's going to change your settings. Whereas the RockShox and the Fox, you don't have to do that. The knob isn't interconnected with the bolt itself necessarily. But yeah, I would say they're both easier than a DVO.
Sweet. Let's see. A couple random questions about my van. And also, Russ, it's 6:40. Do you have to go home?
Pretty soon.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Someone said they saw a video about my van. How much did it cost roughly to build that same concept? It cost somewhere between 15 and 24. I'm not sure. I didn't really keep super track of it. I just kind of built it as I went. But that's rough. Let's see. Oh, sweet. We got a couple people here that just came from the camper van video. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Mike, and this is Russ, our head mechanic at the shop.
We got somebody who does stoppies.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Also, Drew's just gave us $2 super chat. Thank you, Drew's, very much. Now we're gonna buy a muffin. Wait, are you gonna?
I like muffins. I like the scones we have.
Oh, we're gonna buy scones for sure. We got $4 in super chats. If you guys want us to be super amped up on sugar tomorrow, just drop some super chats. We're gonna go out and buy some scones. We're gonna get all freaking jacked up and throw pedal wrenches around the shop and stuff. So, okay, this is a good question from Brett Ballmer. When I do a stoppie on my 2019 Santa Cruz Nomad, it sometimes makes a creaking/popping sound. Doesn't happen on the second endo though. Removed fork and re-greased the headset/interfaces, but that didn't help. Ideas, steer tube?
I'm going to check the steer tube itself. If you've taken the headset apart, you've cleaned, you've greased everything, it could possibly be the cups pressed into the frame, but it could also be the steer tube. And what you would want to do or have a shop do is remove the fork, remove the crown race from the fork, mount it in a set of soft jaws and make sure that they're grooved to hold a steer tube, and then lightly rock the fork back and forth and see if you hear a pop pop. Because if you tilt it in one direction and it pops, it'll kind of stay there, and that's why it does that under hard braking when you're doing that stoppie. And oftentimes if you try to do that again in the field, do the stoppie, hold the brake, pull the bike back again, it'll usually go pop, and then do another stoppie, it'll happen again. And it might be the steer tube on the fork, which you probably want to have that checked out and replaced.
Sounds about right to me. Let's see. And also, I forgot to say, Drew's asked Is Daily MTB Josh really that great of a guy? Josh is a really good guy.
He's a super nice guy.
Yeah. He comes in the shop all the time, has his work on his bike, things that he can't do. And
ask questions.
Yeah. He's a super humble guy. We really like him. If Josh is watching, Josh paid us to say that. He gave us like $25. He bought us a bunch of scones. But let's see. Somebody asked if I was at Whistler on Friday, Saturday. Yes, I was. I was there Saturday. It was super fun. Super nice weather. Let's see. Yeah, tell me about it. SB says he's got a problem because he can't drop tokens in his diamond. I had the diamond on my last bike, and I generally get along really well with stuff, and I'm definitely not like talking smack on DVO, but I just did not get along very well with that fork.
My experience with it when I rode it was slow speeds and just more XC-ish kind of riding. It really didn't come alive and do anything, and the faster I went on it, pointed downhill, that's when it really came alive, whereas I felt the Fox and the RockShox, both of those did the whole spectrum well.
Right. Here's a really good question for Russ. So Michael Acosta asks, Fox, RockShox, Olin's, DVO suspension oil, does it really matter? Can we use the same recommended weight for service? So he's basically asking, can he basically use oils from different platforms? Can he?
Yeah, it's not going to destroy your fork. For consistency, I like to use the same oil. So if I've tested, RockShox 3-weight in my charger damper, I'm generally not going to use any other 3-weight in there, just because one brand's 3-weight and another brand's 3-weight is not going to be the same. As far as other oils, just make sure that the oil is A, compatible, and B, does the same thing. What your lowers oil is doing and what your damper oil is doing is two different things. The lowers oil needs to be really slick, and the damper oil needs to be consistent under heat, and so they don't do the same thing. But as far as using, Fox 20-weight gold in a RockShox, I'm sure RockShox's going to tell you not to do it. I've done it plenty on my own, and vice versa. If you ask the companies, your bike's going to catch fire.
What about the Grip 2 damper that uses a Teflon infused oil?
Yeah, in that case, and just like the other one, if you were out somewhere and for some reason I don't know if you lose all your oil, but if you had nothing else, but the Teflon infused oil, unless you're in a pinch, the companies recommend the oil, not just because they want to sell it, but Fox is going to recommend oil that is high quality and works the best with their stuff, and RockShox is going to do the same. Yeah. It's generally not as much of a marketing game as what most people kind of think, or some people think. In general, stick with what's recommended, and you can't go wrong. But if you want to experiment with different oils for lowers and stuff like that, you can do that too. Yeah,
here in the shop when we're servicing like a fork, if it's a RockShox fork, we're going to use RockShox oil.
Yep.
If it's a Fox fork, we're going to use Fox oil. But if it's a DVO, here in the shop, we're going to use...
Typically, I'm going to default to, usually Torco, as far as, just a general brand of oil that's going to be a super high quality and get the job done. If it's got a bath oil in it, like the DVO, where it's separate from the damper, you can kind of default to that 030 that RockShox runs. It's light enough to where it gets everywhere in the fork, and it's slippery enough to lubricate everything. So there is stuff you can use in a pinch, but yeah, the RockShox and the Fox stuff, super readily available. Most shops are going to stock it who do any kind of suspension work. And that's also, the two major brands that are out there. So,
yeah. Let's see, we got another one. They said, hey, just got Preben Lunde. Hey, just got a new bike with the Fox 36 Grip 2, and it's so nice. But on the forums, I read that a lot of users have found too much grease in the negative chamber. Is this a known issue?
I don't know if I would say there's too much. I've seen it degrade fast. So they use Slick Honey, Slick Honey, Slick Oleum, those are the two major brands that are out there. Slick Oleum is what SRAM uses. They call it SRAM butter. It's just made by Slick Oleum. The extra isn't necessarily hurting anything, but it's not helping anything either. You can lather that stuff all up in there, and once it pushes it up and gets into place, then it's not doing any benefit for you. So yeah, I've seen probably too much in there, but it's really not hurting. It's more about the service intervals and not letting it degrade. And you know, I think every time you do your lower service, you should just pull the air spring, wipe it out, and put some new oil or put some new grease in there.
Let's see. Someone just asked if we've heard rumors of the Fox 37.
I have not heard of a Fox 37, but is that the new Manitou?
Yeah, the new
Yeah, what do
Manitou.
they call
Mazzari?
Yeah, which we're
Massive.
actually very excited to try that. So 37 mil stanchions coming from Manitou, which I haven't ridden a Manitou in a long time, but it looks promising. You know, reverse arch, built-in fender. Yeah, I'd like to check it out.
Yeah, I know Jason's super pumped on it. He likes real stiff forks. Infinite rate tune. I guess that means it makes it more.
I would guess that's an air spring, air volume adjustment.
Yeah. Oh, it's got a double-sided fender built in.
Both ways.
Sweet. Cool. Yeah, that looks like a sick fork. We definitely want to. We've been trying to get in contact with Manitou to see if they can send us one to try out. Hopefully they come through. Let's see. Let's go back. Alex Bernardino said he watched the video where they used car oil from a car parts store in his fork. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know, but it depends on the oil you're getting from a car parts store. As far as the lower oil, the 030 and like the 1550 that RockShox puts in some of their stuff, I mean, that's a high quality synthetic motor oil is where that comes from. So if you're going to an auto parts store, you just have to be very knowledgeable of what you're buying and that it will work. If you go and buy Pennzoil 1040 conventional motor oil, I wouldn't do that. It's going to degrade super fast and it's not going to lubricate very well, especially compared to what's supposed to be in your fork. So if you're super savvy about oils, yeah, you can buy oil from the auto parts store, but a little bit buyer beware. That you got to know what you're shopping for.
Yeah. Let's see. Someone just asked what a good grease is all around. There's a bunch of good greases. Here's one that we got on our website. We definitely recommend. Works pretty good. It's waterproof. The Park Tool one's really good. What is that? The main poly lube. Pretty much every mechanic will have that on their bench. Why are there flies in here?
That new stuff I've been trying out. I'm hoping we'll carry some of that stuff.
What is that? Pro Gold or something?
Pro Gold makes it. The name is escaping me, but it seems to be oil soluble, which is good. You could use it on springs and things in your fork, and it also seems very waterproof. So, but I can't remember the name of it.
Pro Gold something.
Pro Gold.
Or Gold something.
It's got
Gold
3
Pro.
letters.
Yeah. It's. What color is the grease?
It's red.
How does it taste?
It's kind of fruity.
He put some on his tacos the other day for lunch. He also didn't show up for work the next day.
Well, Drew's asking 2 tacos or 1 burrito.
Oh, 1 burrito for sure.
That might be something else, but I only had 2 tacos with my grease.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, my burrito. Should I try it on a burrito tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's vegan.
Oh, yeah, I hope it is. Let's see. What's a good all-around grease? Oh, we already got that one. Okay. Here's a good one from Nate Osborne. 2 questions. 1, can a home mechanic service a Floatex 2? 2, what do you think about a Cane Creek helm?
I would say most home mechanics are not going to be able to service a Floatex 2. 1, if you're asking about it, you probably haven't taken apart mini shocks before, and that's probably not the best one to start with. And 2, the specialty tools needed to do it are fairly expensive. I don't know the cost of just all the little bits, but I would imagine it's a few $100s in tools at least. You know,
It's
it's kind
about $400, $600 in tools.
I don't think just doing the Float X2 would be that much.
Mm.
The seat post on the
Oh
other
yeah,
hand,
it's like $600.
yeah, more than that, and that's
Yeah.
shop cost. So
Mhm.
I mean, it's probably $700, $800, $900 in tools just to service a transfer post.
Yeah.
And as far as the helm, I haven't really spent much time on the helm. My friend Dan, he had one for a little bit, and I mean, they seem like great boards. I mean, I've heard very little complaints other than they seem like they're pretty heavily damped. So most people just run them wide open, which seems to work. But other than that,
I have not spent any time on one.
I've
so.
switched around on it, but that's about it.
James asked me where I bought my NS Snap from. Well, we used to sell NS here at the shop, but the USA distributor stopped carrying full suspension frames from
Andrew Flower, EPX grease.
EPX.
You're
That's
right.
it. Is it Pro Gold or just EPX?
Pro Gold makes the EPX grease.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah, sweet. Thanks, Andrew. Well, cool. 654.
Close it out.
Yeah, I mean, I could keep going if you're just going home.
Yeah.
Might stay on for a little bit. I don't really have anything to do.
Mike likes to talk.
I like to talk. I can talk all night. You guys know that. Sweet. Well, I'm gonna grab some water.
Sick.
Russ, wanna do any more last words?
That's it. Like I said, if anybody wants a stem, some bars, contact Mike, contact me. Info at Cascade Racing Designs, info at thelostco.com. And that was cool to be here. Thanks everybody for hanging out. And I'll just let Mike answer all the questions.
Sweet. And I just realized that the microphone is not plugged in. So I don't even know where the audio is coming from. Must be coming from the laptop. Who knows? Anyway.
Or it's not on at all and everyone else is just checked out.
Everyone is just, maybe they just read lips. So,
sick.
Cool. All right. Sweet.
Awesome.
Russ, peace out. See you tomorrow. See you in the morning.
All right.
Have a good night. Okay, cool. Now it's just me. Oh, God. So, now it's just me, everybody. Welcome. Well, I guess I shouldn't say welcome because you're already here. But anyway, I've got a tall glass of water. I'm getting thirsty. I'm gonna be drinking this. We've got some battery life left. It's about 7 p.m. right now. So if you guys have any more questions, definitely start to ask them. Let's see. Okay, so we got some more questions. So hey, how hard is it to replace bushings on a Fox 34? I've never done it. You just need a bushing remover, right? And press.
You need the tool, which is expensive. I would say 9 out of 10 times when somebody needs bushings replaced on a Fox that it doesn't have any oil in it.
Yeah.
And one of two things, you just need to change the oil and then that play goes away, or the stanchion tubes are getting worn in there and the bushings are getting destroyed.
Lack of service.
I see less than one Fox a year that needs bushings.
Cool. Okay. Well, sounds like you definitely need to do a fork service. I can't see him on the screen, but here's Russ's bars from CRD.
Little self-promotion.
Yeah. Plug. So yeah, this is the CRD. This is the stooge bar.
Yeah.
And it's a 35 millimeter diameter to match the 35 millimeter diameter clamp of the stem. And the stem again is machined here in Bellingham. So it's designed and manufactured here in Bellingham. This is the black stem with the rainbow or oil slick tie bolts. Super, super light. I'm running this exact setup on my bike right now. Really like it. The carbon bars too, Russ designed them to be pretty compliant. So there's just enough material in the right places so that it's not just like a broomstick, and it doesn't feel like a solid, stiff steel pipe when you're riding. Like a lot of carbon bars do, and I think they ride pretty soft.
Yeah, they can be pretty harsh. I've broken both my wrists several times, and that was definitely a design parameter, was trying to make a carbon bar
compliant.
Not only absorbs vibration, but doesn't beat the rider to death.
Yeah, that's good. You don't want to beat people to death when you're creating a mountain bike product, right?
Yeah, that's not a design parameter you want to do. It's beating people to death.
For sure. All right, sweet. Okay, cool. Peace out, Russ.
Bye, guys.
Dude. All right, so SB asked, just replace worn out pads with brand new ones. Lever bite point is at the exact same spot. Thought it would be earlier due to thicker pads. Need to bleed, question mark? So what I would recommend, SB, I'm going to actually move my water. So what I would recommend is if you just replaced your brake pads and your bite point, you want it to have like a quicker bite point, that's not necessarily just going to, it's not going to just make your bite point more firm right away just because you put pads in. And you would think in the back of your head that you have a thicker pad, it would, but it depends. Did you push all your pistons back onto the caliper? When you take the old pads out, take the front wheel out, or take your wheel out as well, and take a plastic tire lever, put those pistons all back into the caliper, and you're going to start from scratch. And that way you're basically going to push the pistons back on the caliper where they should be, and that's going to move the fluid around back up from the caliper, push it into the lever body, and it's just going to put all the oil, or sorry, the brake fluid back into all the right places in the brake itself, in both the lever and the caliper, and that way it's just going to be a fresh start. It's going to push fluid from the lever down to the caliper, just kind of reset everything. Actually, I prefer to do that a couple times. I'll actually push the pistons in and out with the brake lever, and then push them back in with the tire lever. And also you can take like a shoelace with some rubbing alcohol or degreaser or a rag or whatever you want to do. Just clean off the pistons so there's not a bunch of dirt on there. Push them back into the caliper with the plastic tire lever so you don't like crack or deform a piston. And then once you put the new pads in there with the pistons, all 4 pistons or all 2 pistons all the way in the caliper body, then loosen up the bolts that are mounting the caliper onto the bike. Put the wheel back in there. So with the caliper loose, then you're going to squeeze your brake a few times, and that is going to basically reset all the pistons. I like to do this with the brake, with the bolts loose, because then the caliper is going to be floating on the rotor and all the pistons can kind of go back to their natural space or spot, rather than if they are pushing against the rotor on one side with it tight, it's not adjusted correctly, then it's just going to be working against itself. So just loosen the bolts and that should work good. Let's see. So another question from James Glizos. James is thinking of buying a new fork. He asks, Lyric or Fox 36? Lyric and the Fox 36, especially right now, current day and age, for the 2020 models, the Lyric with the RC2 damper feels extremely similar to the Fox 36 with the Grip 2 damper. I think that the Lyric is a little less supportive in the high-speed chunder. That's either a good or bad thing, depending on how you like your suspension setup. I like my suspension to be slightly stiff, but not too stiff. So the Fox 36 works really, really well for me. Whereas the Lyric, I have ridden that, but only on a hardtail. I rode it on a chromatic stylus when I was up in Whistler riding in super chundery stuff. And I definitely felt like I was a little bit more so in the last 3/4 of the travel on the Lyric. And I didn't have a ton of time to set that up. So I didn't really have time setting up the compression just right and everything. So if I spent some more time on it, I might have a better input on it. I know that Jason is riding the Lyric, and so is Russ. They're both riding the Lyric, and they really like the Lyric RC2, but at the same time, they both are riding that because that's what their bikes came with, and they didn't feel the need to upgrade to a Fox 36, or sorry, not upgrade, but change out to a Fox 36. They both ride really, really similar. 36 is naturally going to be a little bit more stiff because it's got a 1 millimeter thicker larger diameter stanchion. So naturally, that'll be a little bit more stiff. Let's see. Drew's asked, do you physically log your ride times for services, or just know that in, say, 2 months, you ride 50 hours? I don't ride my log time. I don't know anyone that does. Basically, here, us at the shop, so me, Russ, and Jason, we just kind of go by feel, and we just know in the back of our head, just, hey, I've been riding a lot. I need to service my fork and shock. And it's just kind of something that we just know naturally, just how it feels. And also, at the same time, you kind of look down at your dust wipers, see how cruddy up they get with dust and dirt, and just kind of know that, hey, it's time to service my fork. I've been riding a while, but at the same time, if you go a little bit over or under, you're not going to do any harm, you know, as long as you're just servicing it routinely. So, Slushy Rise asked, my headset is creaking. I cleaned it and re-greased it, but it's still making noise. Is there anything I can do besides buying a new one? So if your headset is creaking, you clean it or grease it, but it's still making noise, man, I would have to know, did you isolate your headset? Is it for sure your headset that is creaking? It might be your steer tube. There's a bunch of different factors to play into creaking in the front end of your bike. Without seeing it in front of me, can't necessarily tell you what's going on over the internet or over the phone. I would definitely recommend bringing it into us if you're local, bringing it into a good, trusted, and very experienced shop wherever you live. But if it is indeed your headset and it's got some creaks, you're just at least going to need new bearings. If the bearings fix it, or if the bearings don't fix it, then that's going to be a telltale sign. They need to pull the cups, the headset cups, out of your frame, press them back in with some fresh grease, and your creak hopefully should go away. Also, check for any cracks. I had a frame one time that had a crack in the head tube, and luckily I caught it, but the whole head tube was like shearing off, and yeah, that could have been really bad, but I pulled the headset out to press it back in with new grease to get rid of the creak. Found a bunch of cracks in my head tube, so that's not good. All right. Sweet, a couple guys said thank you. Thank you guys very much. Again, if you guys appreciate the help, definitely use this as your bike shop. Order your parts from us online at thelostcode.com. We'd be super happy to help you all the time. Actually, if you click the little the eye in the corner right now, you can go to our website if you need to. So right up here, you can click this and yeah, go right to our website, open it up. And mostly everything that you could ever need is on there. And you might notice that on our website, we don't have like millions and millions and millions of things listed. We really know what works best. We've been riding all different brands and different configurations for years and years and years and years and years. It's what we've been doing our whole life. So we don't really feel the need to sell the abundance of everything that is ever made on the planet Earth. We really just kind of know from experience, we pick the things that we like, that we see are the most reliable, the most worth the money, things like that. So, yeah, sorry, little plug, but hey, that's what we do. That's what we do. We do bikes here, and we've been doing it for a long time. So let's get back down to the questions. Let's see. How would you repair a scratch stanchion? I know that you can. There's a whole bunch of different random things. Russ stated that you can use an epoxy and some light, either like a cheesecloth type of sandpaper. I've also seen people use clear nail polish. There's a whole bunch of different ways. I'd recommend looking into it and seeing what you think would be the best. But at the same time, if you got a scratch stanchion, it would really help to just replace them. They're not mega expensive, but at the same time, in the long term, it's going to save you a lot of headaches. So I would really recommend it. Let's see. And also, would riding a scratch stanchion damage your lower bushing? Probably not, but at the same time, after you ride it and you're going to keep getting, basically a scratch stanchion is going to let contaminants get into your lowers, so you're going to definitely ease the possibility of having dirt and grime and junk and crud and stuff down into your lowers. That will definitely make your oil dirty and will damage the coating on your stanchions, and also could potentially damage your bushings in your fork lowers. So let's see. And then SB, don't worry, dude. You got lots of questions. We got lots of answers. Don't worry about it. That's what we're here for. When you do a 50-hour service, if the foam rings aren't damaged, do you just re-soak them in fork oil and reuse, or no new foam rings all the time? No, definitely. I have reused foam rings in my forks quite a bit. If we're servicing a customer's fork here in the shop, we want to make sure everything's like 110% correct. So we are going to do dust wipe. Every time we do dust wipers, we then will do new foam rings. But like my fork, let's say I just like had a 5-day week at Whistler. I rode my bike super hard, like nonstop. I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna service my fork and shock. When I pull that bad boy apart, I'm going to basically take all the old grease out of the dust wipers and clean them out really good, and then I'm going to pack some new slick oleum into the dust wipers themselves. The foam rings I will take, and you can just basically just like spray them down really good wear some gloves, put it in your hand, spray it down really good with some rubbing alcohol or suspension clean from Maximo, which is what we use. Spray that down, and then use like a paper towel or a nice clean rag, and you can kind of press them and get all that moisture out of there. Let them dry for a few minutes. But then you can re-soak them and reuse them. So just make sure you clean all the dirt out of there. Someone says, let's see, the nose says, help, I think my derailleur hanger is broken. Well, then it sounds like you will probably need a new derailleur hanger. There's really no way to fix the derailleur hanger that's broken rather than replacing your derailleur hanger with a brand new one. And also, good tip for everybody, seriously, if you are out and you are buying a new derailleur hanger because you broke your last one, and you're out buying a new one because you don't have a replacement, buy two, every single time. Buy two, make sure you have a backup. If you go on a road trip, and let's say you have a Canyon Spectral or a Canyon Strife or whatever, there's not going to be a shop in the middle of Arizona that has a Canyon Strife or Canyon Spectral, whatever, derailleur hanger. Just have two, have a backup, do yourself a favor, and save yourself a headache, and save yourself multiple days of missing riding, and just buy multiple derailleur hangers. Zach asked Colson or Twin Sisters for neighborhood beer. You know what? I can't say that I don't drink, so I can't really give a great recommendation for either of those. I will tell you that my favorite type of coconut water is Cocoa Coast. That's what's up. Also, Nirvana coconut water. That's what's up as well. Those are my top two coconut waters. I don't drink, but I used to. And let's say I think most people will go to Colson for neighborhood beer. Let's see. Someone asked if I expand to Phoenix, can I have a job? I'll work weekends. You know, at some point I am going to have to open a shop in a different town. If you guys ever have recommendations on where a really good riding lifestyle and culture city is, let me know. And especially if they don't have a bunch of bike shops. So Bellingham, there's like 14 bike shops. So it's a pretty saturated market. We do great here, but I definitely in the future to get some more brands, to bring more bike brands into the shop especially, then definitely let me know if you live in a good spot that's got a really good expanding and progressive mountain bike culture locally, and I would be very happy to consider opening a shop in your location. It'd be really fun. Yeah, so let's see. And yeah, dude, Zach, I'm gonna go get me some coconut water. Yeah, baby. Get some coconut water, that stuff is good. Before and after a ride, replenish your electrolytes. You're thirsty, you won't be anymore after you drink coconut water. And I don't have any links to the website to send to you for coconut water because we don't sell coconut water. Let's see. Okay, sweet. So SP just said those Kona Wawa 2s are the best for at least size 10.5 shoes. Been using the composite version for a year now. Lots of pedal strikes already and still going strong. You know, it is seriously really good. Composite pedal, here's a really common question I get. Composite pedal versus alloy. Now, probably the best thing, like SB was just saying, you smash these things in a rock, you're not going to scratch them up as much as you would an alloy pedal because the plastic is actually molded as that colorful colored plastic. Whereas a metal pedal, it's going to be anodized, so you definitely can scratch it quite a bit. Like my Race Face Atlas pedals, which I need to replace with something else. I'm not super pumped on them anymore. They have been hit into the ground so many times. They look terrible, and they've taken a huge amount of abuse. But so the Kona Wawa 2 pedals, really big platform. If you got like a size 9.5 and up shoe, it's going to work great for your size foot. You can get these on our website as well. We started carrying these Kona Wawa pedals as soon as we started carrying Kona bikes, and they've been a great thing for us. The one-up composite pedals, very similar as well. I don't really know which one is going to be better. They're both really good pedals. I think the Wawa is going to be a little bit nicer in terms of long-term abuse just because they have a bigger bearing in them, and overall I think they'll make you real happy to stand on. So let's see, need good shops in New England, Park City, Utah. That'd be sweet. Yeah, Utah would be awesome. I'm sure there's probably like 15 bike shops in Park City though. Brevard, North Carolina. There's a lot of guys from North Carolina that live here in Bellingham now. I would definitely be interested in opening a shop on the East Coast eventually at some point. So I need more employees because I cannot keep up with just the stuff at this one shop. So maybe in the future. Let's see. Ryan has code, asks, can a small dent in aluminum frame be fixed? Nah, just leave it. Just run it. Leave that there as a scar. Maybe even get a little Band-Aid sticker and put that over the aluminum dent. That would be sweet. Let's see. Should I worry about the paint chips on my frame? It looks like my smuggler. Should I worry about the paint chips on my frame? If I look at my smuggler funny, the paint chips off. Kurt Robertson, did you buy your Smuggler brand new? If so, I know that there was some paint defects in some of the 2019 model Smugglers, I believe, and they will warranty your frame for you. So I would definitely look into that. Our good friend Dave Conley actually runs the warranty at Transition, and he would be more than happy to help you. So give them a holler. Let's see. Someone asked if the Wawas are better than the Chesters. Absolutely. The Chesters are pretty small. I have a small foot. Feel free to laugh at me. I wear like a size 7.5, 5'10". I wear like an 8 or 8.5 Vans, but I like my riding shoes to fit really small or really snug to be just like, yeah, super tight, and so my feet aren't moving around when I'm riding. And I think that the Chesters would work better for me for a cheap entry-level composite pedal. Although if I had a bigger foot like the average person, then I would definitely recommend the Wawas or the One-Up Components composite pedals. So yeah, cool. So Kurt, yeah, definitely try to get your frame warranty. That sounds like it would be a good warranty thing that they would help you out with. Let's see. Okay, we've been going for a while. I don't even know how long we've been going. It is 7:14, so we've been going for an hour and 45 minutes now. We've had a bunch of good questions. Does anybody have any questions on things that they need at the moment? That way I can send you links to the website. Then you can just like click to order. I'll give you a free shipping code, send it right to your door. If there's any tires or anything you want to try, like we did just get these new WTB Verdicts in. It's going to be a pretty sweet tire all around for front tire. It goes great paired with the Judge in the rear, which is this guy right here. This is going to be basically replacing, if you are not happy with your Maxxis tires, if you keep getting like the wobbly sidewall, or if you're not exactly happy with any form of traction or whatever with those tires, you want something a little bit more burly, I would go with the Verdict 2.5 in the front and the Judge 2.4 in the rear, with the high grip light casing in the front and the tough and fast rolling casing in the rear for the Judge. I ran a similar setup all last winter. That Judge, if you're riding anything wet and sloppy, it's like so much traction, it's ridiculous. So I used to not really be a nerd about tires. I used to just like run whatever, but recently, or last year, WTB started like setting us up with some tires, start trying some of their products, and I gotta say, now I have 2 sets of tires to try on my new bike. I think one of the most fun things actually that I've experienced with bike parts in the last couple of years is riding different tires. It's super fun. It is crazy how much different sets of tires change your riding ability, and like just they work better in different situations. They roll faster. They're grippier. It's pretty fun. I would seriously recommend doing some tire swaps and seeing how it feels. It's pretty fun. So let's see. What do I think about Tannis Armor tire inserts? Slushy Rides asks. I don't know. I know our good friend Keelan Hawk. You've probably seen videos of him. He comes to the shop quite often. He runs those. He's actually sponsored by Tannis because he was riding them and really liked them, so they sponsored him. And he really likes them. He has claimed he's running like just barely any pressure in a tire, and he's never got a flat. So that's pretty cool because that dude rides like a brick and rides super aggressive, gnarly stuff. So let's see. Someone asks, okay, brakes and low temperature. You have some recommendations? Guillermo, are you asking, you live in a cold climate area? Is that what you're asking? So, like, let's say you live somewhere like northern Canada where it's like freezing cold all the time. Pretty much everything should hold up pretty well. I would probably rather have a dot fluid brake since they're synthetic and they're typically better in really hot or really cold temperature situations. And then, let's see, Markford Kakal asks, fixing really loud squealing hydraulic brakes. Man, there's a lot of info on doing that. We're going to make a video at some point, hopefully over winter when we have more time. I'd really like to make one of those. In a nutshell, take your brake pads out of the calipers, sand a whole layer of them off on like 80 or 100 to 120 grit sandpaper, get all the contaminated surface off. Then you're going to want to basically take a clean shop towel, like the blue shop rags,
rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, spray that all over the rotor, clean it off really well, and then if you have a little propane torch, after all that alcohol dissipates and evaporates off the rotor, I would take a real slow cycle around the rotor, burn it with the torch. That is going to then burn all of the contaminants off the rotor and basically turn the rotor into a brand new surface. Then you could take about a couple hundred grit, like wet sand sandpaper, run that around the rotor, and then you're gonna basically just give it a little bit of something to grab onto the newly surfaced brake pads, put everything back together, and take it outside and do a proper bed-in procedure. So about 10 to 15 medium to slow stops, about 10 to 15 fast to slow stops. Or if you live on a hill, get to the top, give it a bunch of medium to slow stops and fast to slow stops, and your brakes are going to bed in. Now, if they're still squeaking, squealing, making any sort of crazy noise, then I would highly recommend to replace your brake pads, and then also do the same type of cleaning and resurfacing procedure to the rotors, and then you're going to have basically brand new pads, brand new rotor surface. Should be good. Worst case scenario, something really gets its way into the rotor, replace brake pads and rotor. But overall, that's about everything. Sweet. Drew, thank you very much. Super appreciate it. All of us here at the shop really appreciate you guys coming to watch. We have been going in between about 25 to 50 people watching. Really hope that I helped you guys with some of your mechanical questions. And, you know, maybe you guys that are left help me answer this question. I always thought it would be a cool idea if instead of just having to call a shop or go to a shop, what if like every day between noon and 3 o'clock Pacific time, we were just live. So while we're doing our work, we just turn the camera on. You can come onto our live stream and we can answer your questions right there for you. That way, it's not only like a live chat like on our website where you just type back and forth with us, but you can also see us, so we can show you the things in the shop that you're interested in buying. So let's say you need a new tire, we can show you the tread patterns live on camera, which one is probably going to be better for you in your riding, and then send you a link right to our website. You can order pretty much like going down to the bike shop, except you don't have to go down to any bike shop. You just talk to us on the internet. We can help you out. What do you guys think about that? Is that a good idea or is that stupid? Would you guys do that? Let's see. Someone asked if we sell any goggles. Yeah, James, we do sell goggles. I will drop you a link to accessories. Let's do apparel, I believe. Yeah, we sell the Zero Tempo goggles. They're super cheap. They're $30. Right now, I only stock super cheap goggles. That reason being because every time I ever buy nice goggles, I scratch them in the first like day or two. So I figure if you're gonna get something like that where you can pretty easily ruin them, at least do something inexpensive so that you're not down, you know, 50 to $100 with super nice goggles. So yeah, let's see. Yeah. Someone just asked if we also, do we sell front mud guards equal to Mudhugger? Been looking for a US retailer for them. We don't. We just all of us here in the Pacific Northwest, we all just use a half fender like this. If you go on to our website, you can actually just buy 2 ground keepers if you want a really big one. Put one in the front and one on the back. Then you're gonna have a full fender. But we really like the ground keeper fenders. Our friends here local in town, you can actually make a custom fender on their website. It's pretty sick. And their designs are really nice. Keely and Tony that own that business are graphic designers by trade, and they make super cool fenders. So we have like, I don't know, 30 different styles of ground keeper fenders in the shop that are all really cool. So let's see. Lucas asked, what is low speed compression? What is high speed compression? So low speed and high speed refer to how fast the suspension is moving, not how fast you're actually riding the bike. So if you're riding at 10 miles an hour versus 50 miles an hour, that's not gonna refer to, and I don't know how you're gonna ride 50 miles an hour on a trail. Maybe be towed by a dirt bike and hold on for dear life. But anyway, that is not going to tell you the low speed versus high speed compression. That is going to be more so how fast the suspension moves. So if you're just like pedaling your suspension's moving. Here's a fork basically going in and out of travel. Your suspension is moving pretty slow. Pretty low speed, pretty slow. That's low speed compression. Now, if you hit a jump to flat and boom, high speed, your fork is compressing super hard, high speed, fast pace. That's a high speed compression. If you're riding and you hit a big rock, square edge hit, that's a high speed compression. If you are riding and there's just like a bunch of roots and your fork's just kind of going like this over the roots, that's going to be a low speed compression. So that's a pretty easy way to look at the differences. So, Alex said he would have to close his office door. So yeah, I think some people would probably lose their jobs. They'd just be talking to us about bikes all day. So, but I think that would be pretty cool. Oh no, Russ said the boat donkey is upside down and sad. Sorry, boat donkey. My bad. Anyway, yeah, Russ went home, but now he is back on the live chat. So everybody say hi, Russ. Hi, Russ. So, yeah, let's see. We've got 29 people watching now. It is almost dinner time. It's about 7:24 now. So if you guys have any last minute questions, anything that you guys need help with, I'd be happy to answer your questions and send you guys some links. So let's see. Can we link the boat donkey? The boat donkey is a one-off fender that we had. We only have 3 of them, and one is on Jason's bike, one is on Russ's bike, and one is supposed to go on my bike. I don't know if I'm going to use it or not, but Jason and Russ are going to kill me if I don't run the boat donkey fender. All right, we got a question. Also, how do you keep your goggles from not fogging up? Much appreciated. So generally in the summer, I don't really have much of a problem with the goggles fogging up. Especially mountain bike specific goggles are going to be ventilated, so I don't really ever see that problem. Let's see. One thing to check, make sure that they're tight so that the foam is actually sealed against your face. I know a lot of people run them pretty loose, and they'll be hitting stuff and they'll be like bouncing around their face, and then their breath will go up and fog their goggles. So let's see. So someone asked what's for dinner. I don't know. I might just have like a salad tonight. I went out to eat last night. I had like a giant meal, and I think I need to just eat everything that's green and grew from the ground. Have a super healthy meal for tonight. Start fresh tomorrow. Go to the gym and start riding bikes again. I'm a little sore from Whistler this weekend, so I might have to take a day off. But let's see. Timo97, is tubeless really that good / better? Oh heck yeah! If you're not running tubeless, do it now or tomorrow or whenever you have time. But tubeless is sweet. Less flats, way less flats. Also, there's one less layer of rubber between you and the ground, so your tire is going to be a little bit more suspension-like. It's going to be more supple and soak up small bumps in the trail, just because you're not going to have a tube there. And also, your wheels are going to spin up a little bit faster, less rotating mass, so everything should spin up faster. Your bike will technically, I think, feel faster right off the bat. That's what I always think. I think tubeless tires feel amazing. I've never met anyone that has gone tubeless and then went back to tubes. Just doesn't happen. So from here on out, straight up tubeless all day, every day. Let's see. Someone says, you don't make friends with salad. You don't make friends with salad. Thanks, Trude. I love that episode of The Simpsons. Let's see. Flying pigs are funny. Let's see. Lucas Levine says, I have an Olin's TTX coil and the rebound is really quick, but there's no rebound adjustment. You definitely do have a rebound adjustment. I believe on the TTX coil, the rebound adjustment is in the same spot as most coil shocks. Going to be down here on the lower eyelet. And you can just turn that right or left, and that will either slow down or speed up your shock's rebound. So definitely go check that out. I can guarantee that you got a rebound adjustment on there. There's no way that a company is going to make a high-end shock that does not have a rebound adjustment. 0% chance. So let's see. All right, 31 viewers. Last minute questions. Anybody? Bueller. Someone just asked, why not just add sealant inside the tube? Well, there'd be no point in adding sealant inside the tube because tubeless tires are technically a tube now. So you're going to remove that tube, so you're going to have less weight, less rolling resistance since you'll have less weight, so your wheels will spin up faster. And then also, problem with tubes is that you get more flats with tubes because you can pinch them because they're really thin and compliant. That's how they expand, because it's a really, really thin rubber material. But basically, a tire is a super thick, super burly tube now. The tubeless tires really are. I mean, that's a really easy way to put it. Yeah, so I really wouldn't recommend it. The only thing that's going to help with sealant in a tube is going to be like if you're getting a lot of thorns, because then you can pull a thorn out and then it will seal that hole up. Other than that, you're not really going to see any benefit at all from putting tubeless sealant inside of a tire. If anything, it's just going to suck more because you're going to get pinch flat. And then you're just going to have tubeless sealant all over everywhere. So, Brendan Morgan asks, can a boost axle not being tight enough cause the front hub area to squeak a little underweight? I can't get it to replicate the noise in my bike stand. Can a boost axle, not being tight enough cause the front hub area to squeak a little underweight? Brandon, let's see. I mean, if your axle is loose, definitely don't ride your bike with a loose axle. I would definitely start by tightening the axle. That'll take you less than 30 seconds to walk out to your garage and tighten the axle. So definitely do that no matter what. Let's see. And that's what I would recommend, starting there. But if you're having a squeak underweight, there could be a whole bunch of different things. And I, unfortunately, am not going to be able to help with that one over the internet. And then let's see. Christoph just asked if we can show a close-up of the stem. Yeah, I'm going to go around here and do that for you. Let's see. So, okay. Trying to do that. Move the camera up here. There we go. That's not close enough. Woo! There we go. So that's the stem from CRD. Try to move it even closer. There she is. Cool. Yeah, there's a stem. So we've got the straight up raw one with tie rainbow bolts, oil slick. Then we've got the black one right here. And that one has just silver bolts, but the black body. So that's those. Okay, going back. All right, sweet. Hopefully that helps. Okay, cool. Boom, 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 boom. Cool. All right, sweet. Well, cool. Christoph, hopefully that showed you a good view of the stems. Russ is going to have those available pretty soon. They'll be on our website. We'll probably send an email out to everybody. If you guys aren't on our email list, get on there and we'll send you some notifications on like when new parts come in, when things are on sale, if we have like a discount or promo code. Also, I definitely would like you guys, if you guys keep an eye on what we're doing, please let us know, like, if you're buying your bike parts from like another retailer and there's something that we could do better to get your attention and basically make more sales here. I mean, that's what we got to do if I want to keep pursuing my dream to ride bikes a lot. And same with Russ and Jason. They like riding bikes. Basically, the more sales that we can do towards us, we're going to go out and ride bikes more. So unlike a lot of warehouse stores where just a bunch of random people running around, we don't just like run around and just like go home and then go play like frisbee golf or something. Like, we're riding bikes all the time. So if there's anything that we can ever do different, please let us know. Take that straight to the heart. We really love your guys' consideration or your guys' recommendations, and we consider pretty much every request for that stuff. It really helps a lot. So everybody asks, let's see. Oh, someone just asked how long have we been live? We've been live since 5:30, so 2 hours now, and my mouth is drying up because I've been talking a lot. Someone just asked, can I put a Fox cable axle on a 36 Performer leader? Is it only the orange factory series forks? No, Chase, you can definitely put a cable axle in your Performance Elite fork. Hey, Chase, I just asked, what's your email? Send me your. Can you send us your email to info@thelostco. Typing is hard with a handlebar interface. Info at the Lost Code. Oh my god. Info at thelostcode.com. My apologies. Hey, shoot us an email. I've got an orange cable in stock that would fit your fork, and I would be happy to sell it to you and ship it out tomorrow for free. Or do free shipping. What you call it? The product is gonna cost some money, but can't give everything away for free, unfortunately. Dude lost weight. Don't need an XXL T-shirt. No more later. Ha ha ha. What? Ever been in Europe yet? Greetings from Germany. No, I have not been to Europe. I would love to go to Europe. If anyone has free plane tickets to Europe, send them to me, because I will go to Europe, and that would be sweet. I would love to go to Europe and ride some bikes in like France and stuff. Kane asks, if I switch my frame to full suspension frame, will it work? Totally depends on the parts that you've got, the frame that you've got, many different variables. But definitely, we would be happy to help you out if you shot us an email, give us a call. We can do a little bit more of a one-on-one kind of like a consultation or whatever, and definitely will help you try to figure that out. So, all right, 34 people watching now. Anybody got questions about CRD bars or stems? And also any of the WTB tires that I've got here, Marzocchi shocks, Kona Wawa pedals, just a couple random cool things that are just new to the shop right now that I grabbed, put on display. But if you guys have any questions about that stuff, I'd be more than happy to answer. Otherwise, I am just gonna stand here and drink water until people just log off, and then I'll just log off too. Yeah, 35 people watching right now. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Ask some questions. Otherwise, I'm just going to stand here. And if for some reason me just standing here gets us attention, then maybe I'll just keep standing here all night if it's that easy. But I think you guys probably want me to talk about something. So, cool. All right. Seriously though, it is 7:35. I've been on for 2 hours and 5 minutes, so I think it is time for me to say bye. Well, I don't know how you say bye in any different languages right now, because it's been a long day, and I cannot think straight. One last question: what's better, a coil or air shock? Many variables in that, depending on how you ride everything. I prefer an air shock overall, but I had a coil shock on my bike when I went to Whistler last weekend. So yeah. What spring shock would you put on a Specialized Stumpy FSR? I probably wouldn't want to put a coil shock on a. I don't know what year it is. The older stump jumpers are really linear, and I would not put a coil shock on it. I had a coil shock on my 2016 Specialized Enduro. Felt terrible. Bottomed the thing out left and right. It did not feel good. Stick with an air shock. Do a Float X2. That would be sweet. If one of the newer ones, I have not looked at the suspension linkage ratios on those. I'm not sure if they're progressive or linear or how they ride. So if it's the new one, I'm not sure. I would look into. I would probably do a DHX2. That's my favorite coil shock. 100%. Fox DHX2. Hands down, best coil shock in the market. No questions asked, in my opinion. Let's see. Is UBI a good school to go for a wannabe mechanic? Yeah, it's definitely a good school. I've known a couple people that went to UBI for mechanic stuff. They had a good time. It was super fun. They learned a lot of stuff, and overall had a really good experience. Yeah. Someone just asked, what's my opinion for Fox DHX2 for Enduro? Thanks, Joe. Fox DHX2 for pretty much anything, it's going to be a great shock. You got a climb switch. It's a coil shock, so it's going to be a little bit less maintenance intensive than the air shock. It's going to be a little more durable for super abusive, lots of abusive and aggressive riding. Also, it's going to be super sensitive to small bumps. So overall, going to be an awesome shock. But overall, I prefer the Float X2. It's lighter. You can adjust it even more because you can adjust the ramp up, so you can adjust how progressive the Float X2 is. Overall, Float X2 I think is a superior shock to the DHX2 for the general public. So, but DHX2, sick shock, can't go wrong either way. Honestly, it really comes down to weight and how poppy and lively you want your bike to be. So. All right, sweet. last gulp of water, and I am going to sign off, guys. Again, if you guys need anything, I'm going to type use code SHIPFREE for free shipping on all orders at on our website. So if you guys need anything, get free shipping, even if it's something small like brake pads, free shipping. Boom, send it to you. Let's see, and yeah, we'll be happy to help you. Otherwise, you guys know that you can always contact us by going to our website and basically going on our website, and in the bottom right corner, you can do this live chat down here. We're online from basically 9 a.m. Pacific time to 5 p.m. Pacific time, and you can always get on there and send us a message, and we will talk to you live on there as well. So yeah, lots of different ways to get a hold of us. Feel free, email us, give us a call at the shop, 360-306-8827. Otherwise, you can just wait until you have some time during the day when you're bored at work and live chat us. We'll be happy to talk to you and answer all your questions. Otherwise, I guess I'm going to get off and basically... oh wait, one more question. Joe Rochester, I don't want to miss your question. I just purchased a 2018 Intense Carbine. It came with a Super Deluxe and a DHX2 is why I asked. So I can't decide. If your bike came with a Super Deluxe and a DHX2, the DHX2 is going to feel amazing. I wasn't super stoked on the Super Deluxe. Don't know what it was, but I did not pair well with it. Maybe I gotta try it on some other bikes. I'd also like to try that Mag-Neg air chamber. So yeah, if you have a Fox 36 up front, the DHX2 is gonna pair so much better. Run the DHX2 with that Fox 36, you're gonna be super happy. Okay, sweet. And guys, I am officially going to sign off. Until next time, happy trails, peace out.